In this video, we'll discuss about most useful Excel tips and tricks, which will make you smarter in Excel. Everybody says, right, work smarter, not harder. And this Excel tips and tricks will be around entering formulas, selecting data, and finding some specific values. So stay with me on this video and I will show you this awesome Excel tips and tricks. Tip number 1. Entering formulas on multiple cells. I have this data set, it has region wise price and quantity, and I have to get the total price for each of this region. And the formula is very simple, right? Price into quantity will get the total price. And the thing is, I have to enter the formula for each of this region. So what normally we'll do, we'll enter the formula in one of the cell and we can copy this formula to rest of the cells for each region, right? This is what we normally do. But I will show you a trick to enter the formula in all the cells in one go. And to do this, you have to select this data range. So let's select the cells where we want to enter the formulas. Select this for south region also and select the range for this central region also. So we have selected all the cells where we want to enter this formula, right? And what is my active cell here? You can see in the name box my active cell is N4, right? So let's enter the formula here, equal to price into quantity, right? So this is the formula to get the total price. And my active cell is in central region. And how many cells I am going left for the price? So I am going 2 cells left to get the price and 1 cell left to get the quantity. If I enter the same formula for the west region here in this column, then here also same, right? So I have to go 2 cells left to get the price and 1 cell left to get the quantity. And this behavior is same for the east region and the south region also, right? So here we enter the formula for central region. So instead of just pressing the enter key, so what we will do, we will hold the control key and we'll press the enter. The use of control plus enter is to enter the value in the selected cell, right? So let's hold the control key and press enter. It will automatically enter the value in all the selected cell, right? This is the awesome, right? So we have entered the formula in one cell and automatically this formula filled on automatically in rest of the selected cells, right? So this is the trick you can use to enter anything in the selected cell. Tip number 2, selecting the data range. What is the fastest way to select the data range? I have this data set which has thousands of rows here, right? And from this data set I have to select this third column. I don't want to select this entire column like this. I want to select the data, only the data range I want to select, starting from C2 to the last row. I want to select this data. What normally we'll do, we'll use this shortcut, right? Control plus shift plus down arrow, right? This is the fastest way to select any data range, right? But if you see in the third column, we have a lot of empty cells here. If I use this shortcut control plus shift plus down arrow, then what will happen? It will select the data, but as soon as it's find the empty cell, it will stop the selection, right? And if I continue pressing this shortcut, I have to do many times, right, to reach to the last row of my data. And this is very time consuming, right? And what is the fastest way to select this data range? This control plus shift plus down arrow will not work out here as we have many empty cells in the data range. Here what we can do, we can use the goto option here. Use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl plus G or use F5 function key to open this goto option. Here in the text box, enter the range which you want to select. And to use this, you have to know the what is your last row. In our case, what is our last row here? So here is 1000, right? So in this data we have a total 1000 rows, right? And I want to select starting from C2 till C1000. So this is the data range I want to select. Keep your cursor anywhere, that doesn't matter where your cursor is. Use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl+G or F5 function key to open this goto, and here in the text box enter the range which you want to select. So C2 colon C1000, right? This is the range, this is the data range I want to select. So we have entered the range here, C2 colon C1000. Next click on OK, then you can see what happens here. Automatically that range got selected here, right? So you can use this go to option to go to the specific cell or to select the specific range, and this is the fastest way to select any data range or go to the any cell, right? This is the trick you can use to select the any data range if you have a lot of empty cells in your data. Tip number 3, selecting multiple columns using a keyboard. I have the data set here. I want to select or I want to copy the multiple columns from this data set. If I want to select this data continuously, then I can hold the shift key, then I can use this arrow keys to select my data, right? This is very easy to select the continuous data. What if you want to select just the customer name, the product ID and the price? I want to select only these 3 columns. And to select these 3 columns, what normally we'll do, we'll use the mouse, right? We'll use this mouse to select this column. And so I have selected this first column, and to select the second column, we'll hold the control key and we can select this range which we want to copy, right? So like this, we can select multiple columns using this mouse, and this is very time consuming, right? How we can select this multiple column? By using just a keyboard. And to do that, what you have to do is, first you have to select the first column which you want to copy. In this case, I want to copy the customer name, right? So let's select the customer name column first here, then hold the shift key and press F8 function key. This shortcut, what it will do, it will add the extended selection, right? It will enable the extended selection for you. You can see in the status bar here, it shows add or remove selection, right? So this extended selection will enable for you. And here what you can do, use the keyboard arrows keys to select the data range here, right? In our case, we want to select this product ID, right? So now keep your cursor in this first cell and hold the Ctrl plus Shift and press down arrow to select this range. And as soon as you have selected the range, you can see that extended selection got disabled again. And if you want to select more columns, then again you have to hold the shift key and press F8 function key to enable this extended selection option, right? Now use the arrow key again to select this price. Keep the cursor in first cell, hold the Ctrl and Shift key and press down arrow to select this range. This is the easiest way to select the multiple column using just keyboard, right? Shift plus F8. Now I can easily copy this and I can paste where I want. Make a use of this extended selection option in Excel. This helps a lot of time. Tip number 4, moving columns and inserting values. I have this data set, and in this data set I want to shuffle some columns here and there, right? If you see, I have a category here and I have a subcategory here. And what I want to do here is I want to shift this subcategory column after this category column, right? So I want to shift this column after this category. So how normally we'll do here, right? So we'll select this column and we'll use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl X to cut this column, and we'll select the column where we want to paste. And we'll use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl plus Shift and equal to sign to insert this column, right? This is the steps we normally follow to shift columns here and there. But I will show you one more way to shift columns here and there. And to do that, first you have to select that column. So in our case, we want to shift this subcategory column after this category column, right? So let's select this subcategory column here and hold the shift key and take your cursor to border of this selected columns, right? So like this you have to take, where you can find this 4 arrows icon. Now do a left click and hold and drag this column where you want to place this, right? You can see, so I want to place this column after this category. You can see when I move my cursor here and there, so there is a border line is coming up in your data set, right? Now move this cursor after this category, then you can see there is a border line which is showing here after this category column. Once you identify the position where you want to place this, then just release this key. It will move this column automatically after this category column, right? So this is the trick you can use to move columns here and there. Or if you want to copy this column somewhere else in this data set, you have to hold the Control plus Shift. For moving, you have to use the Shift key, and for copying, you have to use the Control plus Shift, right? So like I want to copy this subcategory column again before this product ID. So what we can do, so we have selected the subcategory column. Now hold the Control plus Shift, move your cursor to border of this selected columns and left click and drag this, right? So I want to move before this product ID column, right? You can see there is a border line is comes up here. Now release this key to get copy this column. You can see we just copy this subcategory column before this product ID column. Let's see the another scenario for inserting cell values between this data set. So we just saw moving columns here and there, right? So I have this customer names, list of customer names, and I have my new customer name list. And this list of customer names I want to copy before this name, right? So I want to insert this list of new customers before this customer name. And to do that, again select this data set which you want to copy, hold the Control and Shift key, take your cursor to this border of the selected columns, left click and drag this value. You can see there is a border lines comes up here, right? Place your cursor where you want to insert this selected names and release this key. And see what's happening here. Automatically this list of names get added to this list. So this is the simple trick you can use to insert values or move columns here and there. Tip number 5, replacing colors in Excel, right? So in Excel, we know we can find and replace any numbers, text, any values, right? But also we can replace fill color also in Excel by using a replace option. In this data set, you can see I have a few cells highlighted in yellow colors, right? And I have couple of cells highlighted in yellow colors, and also the cells are bold, right? These cells are not in bold but with the yellow highlighted color. These two cells are highlighted in yellow color, also in bold. But I want to replace only this highlighted yellow color cells which are not bold. And what I want to do here is I want to replace this yellow color with some other colors. I want to replace with some other color here. And what normally we'll do to replace these colors, right? So most of the people will select these cells where we have a highlighted yellow colors, right? And they can go to this fill color and then they can replace it. But this is a very time consuming, right? I will show you a simple trick to replace this yellow colors highlighted cell into a different colors. And to do that, use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl plus H to open this replace dialog box. From here, click on this option, and here you can see we have an option for formatting. right? You can see here we have an option for formatting, and make sure this find text box and the replace text box is blank. And for the find colors, click on this format down arrow and select choose format from cell. Once you click on it, you can see there is an icon, right? Select the cell which you want to replace, right? So I want to replace this format, right? So let's select this cell. You can see whatever format we have in this cell, that same formatting is captured here. And this color or this formatting I want to replace with some other color, right? So from here, click on this format down arrow and select the format. It will open a replace format dialog box, and from here click on fill tab here and select the color which you want to replace. So in our case I want to replace with this light green color. Click OK. Now I want to replace this yellow color with this light green color, right? And once you selected these colors, click on replace all. You can see what happened here. It automatically replaced all the yellow colors with this light green color, right? So this is the simple trick you can use to replace colors. Not only the text value or a number value, you can replace the fill colors also using this replace option. Tip number 6. Keeping the cell value in the center without doing a merge and center. I have this data set and there is a main heading to this data set, right? I have a order details, order date, customer name, city, category and the price. And also I have a main header for this data set. And this main header I want to show in the center. And I don't want to use the merge and center option to make this cell value in middle of this data set. Then what is the easiest way to make this cell value in center of this data set? If I go into this home menu, here we have an indentation, right? We have an increase indentation and a decrease indentation. I can select this main header value here and I can use this increase indentation to add some spaces to the cell value and to make this cell value in the center of this data set. But this is very time consuming, right? We have to set it manually by pressing multiple times, right? Let's undo this and I will show you a trick to make the cell value in center of your data set in just one click. Select the cell value and how many columns we have, right? So we have a total 5 columns, right? So let's select this main header value up to this 5 column, right? So I have selected this all 5 columns here. Next, click on this alignment format icon here, alignment setting, or use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl+1 to open this format cell dialog box. From here, click on this alignment tab and from horizontal drop down, select this option center across selection. Right? So what this option will do, how many cells I have selected in my data set? I have selected 5 columns, right? So whatever data we have in this first cell, that value will be set it into the center, and whatever value we have in the first cell, that value will be set it properly in the center of this selection, right? So we have selected this option from this horizontal drop down and click OK. You can see our main header value is showing in the center of our data set. This is the simple trick you can use to make your value in center without using a merge and center option. Tip number 7. Selecting multiple objects in one go. Here in this sheet I have a multiple objects here, right? I have a shapes, I have icons, I have the chart, I have the smart art, right? So I have a multiple objects in this sheet and I want to delete this all the objects in one go, or I want to select this all objects in one go. What is the easiest way to select these objects in one go? What normally we'll do here, we'll use the mouse right to select these objects manually, right? But this is very time consuming. I will show you a simple trick to select this all the objects in one go. And to do that, use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl plus G or F5 to open this goto option, and from here click on this special button, which will open this goto special dialog box. From here you can select this object option and click OK. So what it will do, it will select all the object in your active sheet. In our case we have total 4 objects, right? So automatically go to a special option, it selected all the objects, and you can take necessary action which you want to do with this object. So in our case we want to delete this, right? So let's press the delete key here to delete these objects. And this is the simple go to special option you can use to select multiple objects in one go. Tip number 8. Identifying the values where we don't have any formulas. I have this data set which has the customer name, price, quantity and the total price. And this first 3 column is a static value. And this 4th column is a formula based. So there is a formula to get the total price. But I don't know any of this cell value in this column is a static value or not. I want to know how many cells I have as static values in this 4th column. And what is the easiest way to identify the cell where we don't have any formulas? And the trick is, select this data set where you want to identify and use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl plus G or F5 to open this goto option, and from here select this special, which will open goto special dialog box. From here you can select the constant. So what constant will do, it will identify the static values where we don't have any formulas, right? And what we are identifying here, the cells where we don't have any formulas. As this is a formula based, we know this is a formula based, but still I want to identify, do we have any cells without any formulas in this column or not, right? So from here go to spatial, select this constant and click OK. It will identify those columns where we don't have any formulas and we can take necessary actions here, right? In this case there are 3 cells where we don't have any formulas. These are the 3 static values we have in this column, right? And then we can take a necessary action here. And this is the very simple trick to identify this type of cells. Tip number 9. Identifying the errors in the formulas. Here in this column there is a formula to get the position of this A keyword, right? So I entered a search function to identify the position of this A. I entered the formula and I have copied down this formula till my last row. After copying this formula, I want to know whether my formula results any error or not. How you will identify whether you got the output as error in your formula or not? We can filter and we can identify whether we have an error in formula or not. But there is a way to identify the whatever formula you have entered, that formula produced any error or not. And to do that, select this data range where you have a formula and use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl plus G or F5 function key to open this goto and select spatial here, which will open this goto spatial option. From here you can select this formula, and what we are trying to identify here in formulas, we are trying to identify the errors in the formulas, right? Whether our formula produced any error or not. So we have selected formula here. So from here you can see there are 4 options which are enabled here. So in formulas we want to identify just errors, right? So let's disable this numbers, text and logicals, as we don't want to identify this type of values. We want to identify only these errors, right? Under this formula look for only errors, right? Click OK and it will highlight those cells where we have errors in formulas. You can see we have entered the formula, but the formula produced errors here. And using this goto special, you can easily identify the cells where the formula produced the errors. Tip number 10. Identifying the numbers in the static values. I have a mixed text values here. It has the text, it has the numbers, it has the errors, and it has the logical values, which is a true and false. But out of this mixed text values, I want to select only the numbers. I want to copy only those numbers into a different cell here. What is the easiest way to get these numbers copied? And to do that, you have to select this range from where you want to copy these numbers, right? So I have selected this range. Use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl+G or F5 to open this goto and click on special, which will open this goto special dialog box. From here, select constant, as we want to identify the numbers in the static values, not in the formulas, right? Or if you want to identify in formulas, then you have to select this formulas option from here. But in our case, we want to identify in the constant value, in the static values. So let's select the constant here. You can see here for the constant, all these 4 different options are enabled here. But we want to identify only the numbers, right? So let's disable this text, logicals and errors. And it will identify only numbers in the static values. So let's click on OK. You can see the numbers are selected here. Now we can easily copy and we can paste wherever we want, right? This is the simple and easiest way to identify the numbers, text, the logical values or any errors in the static value and also in the formulas. Tip number 11. In this last tip, I will show you the fastest way to select the matching names. Here I have this dataset which has the customer name and the price, right? This is my dataset, and here in my mapping list I have my original customer name list. And from this dataset, I want to copy only those customers which are available in this original list, right? So here I have my raw data set, right, which has the customer name and the price, and here is my original list. And I just want to copy only those customer names which exist in this original list. And to get this, what we will do, we'll use the VLOOKUP formula, right? We'll use the VLOOKUP formula here, right? So let's enter the VLOOKUP formula here to get this matching name list here, right? So equal to VLOOKUP, the first parameter is lookup. So I want to look up for this customer, put it comma here. The second parameter is table array. So where I want to look up this customer name, so I want to look up my customer name in this original list, which is the L column, right? Put it comma here, the column index. So I have selected only one column. Let's enter the column index as 1. Put it comma here. Now let's select the false for the exact match. Close the bracket and drag down this formula. Right, so we have entered this VLOOKUP formula to identify the matching customer name list. And from this raw data set, I just want to copy only the matching customer names. I don't want to copy this customer. I don't want to copy this customer, and also I don't want to copy this customer also. What is the easiest way to get this customer name copy? Right? So first what we will do, we'll replace these formulas with values. Copy this and use the keyboard shortcut Alt-ES to open this paste special and select values and click OK. It will replace the formulas with values, right? Now there is no formula in this cell. The next what we have to do is we have to select this data set, right? So we have entered the formula here and we have replaced the formula with values, and next we have selected this data range and which name we don't want to copy. So wherever we have this error, that customer name we don't want to copy, right? So press the tab to make this error cell as an active cell. Previously my active cell was C3, right? So you can see in the name box. And to make this error cell as an active cell, then you have to press the tab key here. So let's press the tab key here to make this error cell as an active cell. You can see C4 is my active cell now. The next what you have to do is use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl+G or F5 to open this goto. From here click on this special, which will open this goto special option. From here you have to select this column differences. Here we have two options, row differences and column differences. I have selected the data in column, so that's why I have selected here column differences. So what this column differences will do here is, whatever is my active cell value, my active cell is C4, right? So what is my value in C4? This is the hash NA, right? In this selected range, if we have a value other than this active cell value, then those cells will get selected here. This is the use of column differences. Here in my selected cell, this hash NA value we have a 4 times, right? And this hash NA value cell is my active cell. And once I click on OK, wherever we have this hash NA, those cells will get deselected and only those cells will get selected other than this hash NA. So let's click on OK to see what's happened here. So it selected all the cells other than this hash NA, because this hash NA cell is my active cell, right? So this is the option you can use from goto special to select the cell value other than the active cell value, and this works only on one cell, right? It won't work on multiple cell selections. So my active cell was C4, and the C4 cell has this hash NA. And how many hash NA we have in this selected range? We have a 4, right? Those cells got deselected, and other than this hash NA, the cells got selected here, right? So this is the easiest way if you want to copy value other than any cell value. So let's copy this and we can paste wherever we want. So these are the simple and the useful tricks you can use in your day-to-day work, and which will make you smarter in Excel. And I hope this Excel tips and tricks helps you in your day-to-day work. Thank you so much for watching. That's it for today.